Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Optimize Your Supply TMR Profile and EOI Responses webinar. Now, we're streaming live here from the beautiful Gold Coast, so wherever you're tuning in from, a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. My name is Michael Lee. I'm a Principal Economic Development Officer here at the Department of State Development, Infrastructure and Planning, or DSDIP for short, SCQ South Regional Office. Now, it gives me great pleasure to be here with you today as your webinar host and also your MC. Now, before we begin, I'd like to just pay my respects to and acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which this event is taking place, and also acknowledge elders past, present, and emerging. Now, as this is a virtual event and that we're presenting here from the Gold Coast, I would also like to acknowledge the Kumanberry people and the other Yugambeh language groups, and also the traditional owners of the Gold Coast and Logan. Now, I also recognize that those whose ongoing effort to protect and promote Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures will leave a legacy for future elders and leaders. So who is the Department of State Development? Now, our department is a lead agency in economic development here in Queensland. It incorporates the functions of the Coordinator General, and that's for large coordinated projects across the state, as well as our team at Infrastructure and our colleagues in Planning Services that are responsible for evaluating development applications to ensure that they comply with state planning policies and regulations. Now, I work for State Development's Regional Office Network, which assists business and industry development. And as mentioned earlier, my team are based here in the SCQ South Regional Office here in Southport on the Gold Coast, and we're one of 14 regional offices right across the state. So out of our local office, we do encapsulate and deal and work with one-on-one with businesses in the Logan Gold Coast as well as the Redlands region. Now, regardless of where you might be based for your business, right across the state, we do have a local regional office to be able to further assist you. My team and I work one-on-one with high-growth businesses in a number of key priority industry sectors to help them navigate government, to access government support, and to also support and address any of their unique challenges and opportunities. We also deliver workshops such as the one that you're attending today, and it's, again, to further assist you and provide you the key information to help your business grow and succeed. Now, the purpose of today's webinar. The webinar today is designed to provide you some tips and hints to help you maximize your supply opportunities through the SupplyTMR portal. And the portal itself is linked into the Queensland Train Manufacturing Program, or QTMP for short. Now, I do want to stress that today's presentation will not be providing you any project information on QTMP, as you'll need to view this through the Transport and Main Roads or the Downer websites directly, or to attend one of the QTMP industry briefings that are being run on a regular basis. The session for today simply provides you the key tips and hints of helping you improve your organization's visibility through the SupplyTMR portal. Now, as part of today's webinar, the webinar will run for an hour in duration. So 45 minutes of this will be our formal presentation. We will have quite a bit of time towards the end for a Q&A session of 15 minutes. Now, throughout this morning's webinar, if you do have any questions, if you're wanting additional information, or just if you've got key aspects of things that you're just unsure of, at any stage of this morning's webinar, please go up the very top and utilizing the chat function to put in your question. And we will spend time at the very end of today's presentation to go and address your question. I do want to stress that today's webinar will also be recorded. And following the session, we will be circulating just the link to the webinar recording. Now, following the webinar, you'll be provided a link to the feedback survey. We would certainly encourage you to complete the feedback survey as it gives myself and the team here at State Development a better understanding of how we're performing, but it also gives us a better indication of some of the key topics or aspects of things that you might be interested in to help grow and support your business. Now, for those that do go through to complete that webinar survey, we will then provide you a copy of today's PDF presentation. Now, just as a reminder before we begin, if we could have everybody just have your microphones on mute and your cameras turned off, please. Now, as part of the webinar structure, you'll see it on screen there. We've broken up today's session into 3 key parts. So the first part is providing you key tips and hints on optimizing your SupplyTMR profile as well as EOI responses. We'll then go through to provide you a detailed presentation just on state development group as well as our support for you as a supplier. We'll then conclude by moving in through to the Q&A session at the very end of today's webinar. So let's begin. We'll kick on with part number 1, optimize your SupplyTMR profile and EOI responses. Now, our key presenter for today is Tim Walmsley. Tim is the founder and CEO of Benchon, an innovative Australian company that is solving some of the biggest issues in industry through digital collaboration and industry mapping. Tim's an Army veteran with over 21 years experience in the executive level in both government and commercial sectors. Tim has brought his unique experience, focus, and drive to industry to stimulate industry growth, to create strong and agile supply chains, to generate greater job stability, and to provide a digital industry ecosystem that will help Australia meet the demands of the future. And I'll now hand over to Tim. If you could please give Tim a warm welcome.
They're all clapping at their computers. Good morning, everyone. As Michael said, I'm Tim, founder and CEO of Benchon. And as he said, I'm here today to talk about the SupplyTMR portal. So what is Benchon? What is the SupplyTMR portal? And how do you best use it to link yourself into work, as well as source the things that you need? I just want to reiterate the fact that we won't be talking about QTMP work packages or the major contractors or what they've got on. And even you'll see when I'm showing you the slides in the portal, they won't show active work packages or active opportunities in there, because that's all covered under a non-disclosure agreement in the portal and protects the information. So that's one of the key things about the SupplyTMR portal that you should know, which is it protects all of the information that's put into it. So let's start off with what is SupplyTMR. The SupplyTMR portal, it's an AI-powered intelligent matching system that digitally matches all of the project demand for people, products, materials to local suppliers that are registered. So consider it like a shop front where any company can go register on the portal, teach the system what you can do with what people you have, products, materials, manufacturing capability you have. And then it becomes a passive business development system where you can sit back and it'll simply notify you anytime your business has been matched directly to a requirement. You can be matched to on-demand specialist talent opportunities. And so this is not recruitment. It's more like consulting style contracted talent. So one of the project contractors might need a project manager for 3 weeks or an admin assistant or some type of skill set that there's a shortage in. They can put it into the system and the system will tell them exactly which businesses have that person available with the skill sets, experience at the right rate that they need, so that they can go into a business to business contracting relationship to provide that person to support the project. So that's one area. And that's something that's quite unique as a portal to other industry portals that are out there, is that it incorporates that talent matching side. You've then got what a lot of you would expect, which is the supply chain side, where they issue everything from expressions of interest right through to RFPs, RFQs for all of the products and materials that they need for the project. All of this is wrapped up in a live data reporting dashboard where Department of Transport, Main Roads, and the major contractors can not only dive in and see the full depth of capability in the supply chain, so they know exactly what's at their fingertips, but they can also track how much work's gone to local businesses or to regional small businesses, or what's the total value of opportunities that have gone to Indigenous businesses. So they can track all of that activity so that they know that they're maximising local content for the project, and that they are definitely looking through all of the local businesses to see who they can get to support. So what is Benchon? Benchon is the platform, the industry digital ecosystem, the platform that houses all of these portals. So we have a number of portals from government agencies, local councils, industry bodies, major global contractors, just to name a few. And that's all housed inside our portal marketplace. So BenchOn is I guess, the environment that these portals sit within, and we build these automated portals for these organizations so they can have that exact same thing that I've explained to you, where they can see the full depth of the capability they have at their fingertips and then intelligently match their requirements to those companies who can best support. We're a veteran-owned company based right here in Queensland. We're now supporting over 6,000 corporate and government clients right across Australia and New Zealand. And so far, in the last few years, we've processed about $8 billion in workload, and that's only increasing as more and more portals are launched and more people jump on board. So the more people that use the portals, the better it gets for everybody. So this is what the portal looks like. It's a multi-purpose platform that does both of those sides that I discussed. It matches talent demand directly to businesses and contractors, as well as does the supply chain tendering. I want to bring your attention to the central screen that you'll see there. And in the bottom right-hand corner, there is a industry news section. This is important to understand because this is how the QTMP I keep saying QTMP program. The QTMP contractors will put out news articles, blogs, anything that they need to keep you informed about what's going on. So when they release a new news article, you'll get a notification saying SupplyTMR has released a new news article, please log into view. And I strongly recommend that you do that just so that you can keep up to date, because they're taking the time to put that information in there so that you're aware of what's going on. It can be something like, we have updated the capabilities in the portal. We need you to go in and double check that your business does not do any of these new capabilities, and it gives you a prompt to update your profile and make sure that you're as successful as possible. So the functionality of portal, and I know exactly what you're all thinking. I ran a small business before I started BenchOn. I know you're thinking this is just another industry portal that I have to get on and be a part of. When I was running that small business, I think I was registered on about 14 different tendering and supply chain portal websites. Every morning they would send me an email listing out all of the tenders in the industries that I said I was interested in. I spent hours searching through tenders that had nothing to do with my business, just in case I missed something, just in case there was something coming out. And I found it laborious, time-consuming, and very rarely did I actually get anything out of it. And that is actually why I started BenchOn. I started BenchOn because I was sick of the manual ways of doing things, those hope and wait tendering systems where they put up a project page, they put up the work packages, and then they just hope that the right suppliers find it, see it, and then register in time. So things to note when we're talking about this portal, it will only match you to opportunities that directly suit your business. And we do this for a very specific reason. It's to save you the time and money, so you don't have to go looking for work. It'll bring it directly to you. So when you first log in and create your profile, you'll get into the dashboard. There won't be any opportunities there for you to see. That's because, one, you've only just joined, and two, the algorithm needs to run to see what's out there, who's looking for what, and whether that actually matches your business profile. So don't be worried when you don't see anything. That's there on purpose. When you do get a notification from BenchOn, it's because there is something that directly suits your business profile on what you said you did, and you should respond because it's something that is in your wheelhouse. So that way it saves you time and money. The other thing the system does is, because we don't make contractors paid by the tender or by the EOI, they can break all of these down to their lowest common denominators. And that makes it easier to match to you, but also for you to know that this thing is directly suited to you. And I'll give you an example. We had a solar company who was telling me the horrible time they have trying to find where they fit into tenders. And that's because very rarely are there tenders that are just for solar. It will be a tender to build a building where solar will be one of the small line items down the bottom. So when they're looking and doing their BD, they have to not only find all of the different types of tenders like roof restoration, buildings, all of those things, but then they have to delve into that to find out where exactly solar is, or if there is solar there. So they said finding work is impossible. Whereas with this system, it is designed for the sourcing company to break down their requirements to their lowest common denominators and say, yes, for this building, we need a solar pack put on to these specifications. And that specific pack would then be matched directly to that solar company because that's what they say they specialize in. So in that way, you're going to get packages that are perfectly designed for your business. You'll be more easily able to read the requirement and go, yep, this is where I fit in, or no, this is not something that I do, and you can reject it. That's all designed to save you time and money. And I hope as we go through this, you'll see that our number one mission when we built this portal was to save the time, money, and make it a really good experience for suppliers and small businesses. Now, the portal allows all the major contractors, as well as their suppliers down the tier levels of the supply chain, to source what they need for the project. Now, if you are successful in any of the tenders that go out, you then become a contracted supplier, and you also have the right to source through this portal. So if you do win a contract as part of QTMP, please let us know that you need to source to support whatever you need to do. And we will get that approved, switch your profile over from a supplier to a sourcing company, and you can then put out your own EOIs, your tenders, your workforce requests at zero cost. So don't go and pay other organizations to try and find you the things you need. This is sitting here ready for you as part of the QTMP setup. Now, this is also not a system where it's a set and forget technical system. It has full concierge support. And what that means is when you sign up, you will get a welcome email from your concierge, who is an Australian based right here in Queensland, who will welcome you to the portal and offer a welcome call. That means that they'll set up a video call with you where they can talk you through how to set up your profile, answer any of your questions about the portal, make sure that you've optimized your profile. They are there to help and walk you through it, and that's all part of the service. And this is all free for you. So they are there. I strongly recommend you take them up on that offer. They will also then provide you their email and their phone number so that if anytime you're using BenchOn or the SupplyTMR portal, if you have any questions, issues, or concerns, you can contact them directly and they will help you. So please don't ever feel like you're struggling or I don't understand this, it's too hard. There is always someone there to help walk you through it and make sure that you're set up properly. Now, we're constantly trying to evolve and improve the portal to make it better for all of the users. And the biggest example of that is we've just launched a new streamlined process. So if you joined SupplyTMR, 6 months ago or before, you would have used our old registration process, which was broken up and it was a bit clunky and hard for people to understand. We've now streamlined that based on feedback from suppliers. And we've now got a very easy 4-step company profile setup. And that's what I'm going to take you through today. The first 2 pages of the registration are there for you to create your BenchOn company profile. This becomes your passport to go into any portal in the portal marketplace on BenchOn. So what it's going to do is on the first page, you're going to teach the AI what your company does, what you provide, so what your people, products, materials are, and then you're going to tell it how you want to use the system. So do you want to supply people? Do you want to supply products and materials? Or do you want to source? We capture all that information about how your company wants to use BenchOn, and that means that any portal that you join, those first 2 pages of the registration will follow you around. So it's very, very quick for you to sign up to multiple different portals. Now, as we go through this process, I just want to stress that BenchOn has a mission that it will take suppliers no more than 10 minutes to get themselves registered and set up. So that's what we're aiming for, and that's what you should expect in terms of the time to get yourself ready. If it is a really long period of time for you to do it, please let us know. We'll try and work out how we can streamline that further for you. Okay, so once you've done the first 2 parts of the registration, which is your BenchOn company passport, we then go into the portal specific registration. So that's pages 3 and 4, and they will be SupplyTMR specific. So that's where you'll set your contact, the primary contact from your organization for the SupplyTMR portal, and then answer any specific SupplyTMR questions that TMR wants to get answered as part of the portal, just to help them categorize you better, find out who's in the portal more. Like it's there to help them better service you as a supplier. So as you can see on the screen, you've got the 4 numbered dots at the top. It's very much like a wizard. You can click on those dots and jump forward pages. And as I said on this page, we are just capturing some basic information to teach the system, the AI in the system, who you are and what you do. So we're going to capture your company name, your ABN, your website. All of that is processed quickly just to make sure that you're a legitimate company and that you're not a robot or a shell company or stuff like that. Once we know that there's no red flags there, we then ask for what's your business address, where are you located? That's so that we know whether you're a local business for certain parts of different projects. And then what size are you? We need to know, are you a micro business, a small business? Are you a large business? And that helps us categorize you for different projects. Are you Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander? And this one is interesting. Are you a labour hire or recruitment company? Now, we delineate that because when an organisation is looking for specialist talent for their projects, a lot of the times they don't want recruiters or labour hire firms. They are looking for a small business that has a specialist staff member that they want to bring into the project because when they bring in an employee from another organisation, that employee comes with the processes, the mentoring, the training, and the peer review of that organisation. Whereas sometimes with recruiters and labour hire, it can just be a body that they're pushing forward and putting into position. I'm not saying that that's the case for all recruiters or labour hire firms. I'm just saying that some companies have that preference. So if you are not a designated labour hire or recruitment firm, select no there. I have had some consulting firms who say, well, look, we're on the labour hire licensing scheme because we consult, but you're not a labour hire firm, you're a consulting firm. So therefore, click no on that, and therefore you won't be then used or pushed out of some of the opportunities. Then you fill out your terms and conditions, which is just BenchOn standard terms and conditions for using the portal. And we have our standard non-disclosure agreement. Now, that's something else that's unique to BenchOn. All information put into the portal or taken out of the portal is covered under a non-disclosure agreement. That's there to protect you and your company information, as well as the sourcing company's project information. All it says is the information you receive on BenchOn cannot be used for any other process other than what it was intended, which is for the matching of a supplier's capabilities to a project team's requirements. It just means you can't go and find another company's information and then go use it for some other purpose. So it's just another layer of protection we provide to you. Now, page 2, this is where you teach us or teach the AI in the system what your company does and how you want to use the system. So the first question, do you want to supply people? So are you a consulting firm? Are you a business that just has people that are spare sometimes? You can click yes, and that means that the system will then start matching you to workforce opportunities from the project or from other companies. You then fill out the industry that you support, the locations that your people are, and then all of the skill sets you've got in your business, like project management, admin, HR, marketing, like all of those skill sets in there. And anytime anyone's looking for that in the location that you're in, you can get matched to it. Now, I have had a lot of SMEs go, look, we're not a consulting firm. We don't supply people. But I want to share really quickly the story. Like, we started BenchOn with the talent side because I saw how hard it was to manage the peaks and troughs of industry. You know, sometimes you're in a trough, you've got not enough work on, you've got too much staff, you're bleeding money while you pay your salaries, waiting for that next contract. And that happened to me. I was on a major contract, a government contract. I had 3 very expensive engineers. The contract got paused for about 6 to 8 weeks. And we just couldn't afford to keep paying their salaries while we waited. So we needed a contract to fill that gap, something to bring in revenue. That didn't make us a consulting firm. It just meant that we needed something to keep our people and invest in them for the long term. That's what this gives you. This gives you another string to your bow that if you are in a situation where you do have someone on the bench, which is why we call BenchOn, you can actually receive a contract opportunity for a short period of time where that person works on a project under your company banner and then comes back to your business. So please consider that, and please talk to your concierge if you are interested in it or you want to find out more information about how it works. They are there to support. Okay, also on page 2, do you want to supply products and materials? Yes. So from there, you'll see that the next thing is generic capabilities. Now, these capabilities are BenchOn wide. They break down all industries to 3 levels. to give you categories that you can put your business into. So we don't just like to say, oh, you're in the rail industry. Great. Here are all the opportunities related to rail. It'll break that down into subcategories down to 3 levels. So go in there, find the categories that best suit your business. Note that this is, like I said, bench on wide, so it can't cover everything down to minute detail. On page 4 of the registration process, there is portal capabilities, which are capabilities that have been set by TMR and QTMP that are very specifically things that they're going to tender against. They will be much more focused than the generic capabilities. So go into generic capabilities, fill out everything that you think relates to your business, because this will apply in all the other portals. And then on page 4, you can do those specific ones. Then you want locations. There's a short company description. Now, this is not meant to be a essay on what your company does. Just put one small paragraph explaining in short detail what your company does. Like, think of it like your elevator pitch. There is an AI generation tool there, so you can, like a generative AI, so you can click on that and it'll help you design it and write it for you, and you can just modify it from there. But just put that in. It's just something that gives, when they see your company profile, they can very quickly understand who you are. Finally, down the bottom, we have upload company files. This is for you to store. It's there to help you when you're responding to tenders. So things that you might constantly use and attach to your tenders, like your marketing materials, your capability statements, your brochures, you can upload those into there just so that they're against your company profile. And in the future, when you're responding to things, you can just tick those boxes and they'll get added to your tender. So it's just there to save you time. Don't stress if you don't have anything in there when you're signing up. You can always come back later and add those things to it. Now we go to page 3. This is where it's SupplyTMR focused. So you can see page 3 is simply one question. Who is your main point of contact for SupplyTMR? If you're the first person who's registering your company, you'll be the only person in the system. So you'll choose yourself, but you can come back and change that later once you've invited more of your staff. Your company can have 5 free user profiles attached to your company, and I'll talk about that in a bit more detail soon. So you can always come back in and select another one of your employees. And that means that if there is any urgent need for us to contact you, we will contact that person directly. Now, page 4, you can see there's not a lot of questions here. We're going to stream through this and you're going to get it all done in under 10 minutes. This is where you do the community capabilities, which are the specific capabilities that QTMP and SupplyTMR have set. I think the first project that went through SupplyTMR was the Rockhampton Rail Yards precinct. So there's some capabilities there, then QTMP, and as more projects come on, more capabilities will be added. So if there is anything that I can get through to you, the community capabilities will be updated fairly regularly as new suppliers come on. They want to request new things, they'll add new capabilities there. We will announce when these new capabilities are there. I recommend going in and just checking through those community capabilities and make sure there's nothing new that suits you that you may have missed before. We will do everything we can to communicate that with you, or you can go through to your concierge and just say, hey, look, I just want to do a check on the capabilities and make sure that we're optimized. They then want to know how long you've been in business, have you provided services to the Queensland government before, and are you interested in government-funded BD programs? You can tell these are just Department of Transport and Main Roads questions so they can help categorize you and work out what type of supplier you are. So I hope you can see there that supply registration can be done very, very quickly. It's all tick and flick, and it'll help set you up for success when you get into SupplyTMR. Now, remember, as soon as you click submit or save on your company profile, you'll go through to the dashboard and there will not be a list of opportunities there. At that point, you can really just set and forget. You could log out, you're all set up, and then the system will notify you when there's any opportunities that match your business. When you are looking for your opportunities, I'll show you where to go. Now, the top menu items are the best ways to navigate this portal. So you'll see in the red box at the top, there is a menu item called People. If you click on that, a drop-down will say Supply or Source. You obviously want to go to Supply because that's what we want to do. We want to win contracts. And it'll open up the My Talent Opportunities page. This is where your contract opportunities will show once they match to your business. The other options here, the next tab over is My Talent. You can start adding employee profiles with resumes and rates and things should you wish, but I don't recommend that. The AI will match opportunities to your company profile first. You can look at that and then go, oh, yep, that contract opportunity is good for Jeff. Let's upload Jeff into the system and respond. That way, over time, as you receive more opportunities, your employee profiles will grow. I don't want you to waste time spending hours at the beginning setting up employee profiles when you don't even know if there's work for those people yet. So let's keep that for later, that work for later, and let's just have a look in here when something comes through. Same for supply chain opportunities. I want you to go to products and materials at the top. The drop-down options will be supply or source. So we go to supply, and it'll take you to the supply chain opportunities page where every EOI or tender will be listed below there. You can see the information in the tables that you'll get, when it was released, what they're after, what the cutoff date is. You click into those and it'll open up the supply chain opportunity or the EOI, giving you information. Now at the bottom of that page, there will be some buttons which will give you options such as show interest, prepare a response, ask a question, or decline the opportunity. Now, when you say show interest, what that does is it notifies the sourcing company that your business is interested in the tender and will likely prepare a response. That tells them, hey, I know now which companies are likely to respond, and it gives them an understanding so that they can prepare their tender assessment period for the right amount of companies and responses that are coming through. Same for if you decline. Now, you don't need to decline. I understand you can just look at it and leave it, but if you press decline, it's not that you're saying to the sourcing company, I don't want anything to do with you. You're just saying for this opportunity, we're gonna bow out, and it lets them know not to expect you or not to follow up if you haven't put a response in. The ask a question button is an important one. This system has two-way communication, so you can ask a question directly of the sourcing company. They can respond back to you, and you'll be notified as soon as there's a response back. Now, that question and answer could be turned into an addendum and added to the tender itself, but you always have the ability to contact the sourcing company directly through the portal. As I said, your company gets 5 free users. And the way to do that is once you've created your company profile, you go up to the top right-hand menu where your company name will be and go down to the company users menu item. That will bring up the profile settings page where you'll see the red box in the middle of the screen where you can invite users to your company profile. Often we see people make the mistake. They've registered themselves. They say, hey, I'm registered in SupplyTMR. I've got to go away for a week. You know, Gary, can you jump in and register yourself on SupplyTMR so we don't miss anything? And then Gary goes in and creates a new company profile for himself. And now we've got duplicates, which just confuses everyone. Then we have to merge those companies together and it's just a mess. So instead, create one company profile, go to this menu item, invite up to 5 other staff in your business. That invite is valid for 5 days. So let them know that you're inviting them. If they haven't received it in about 10 or 15 minutes, tell them to check their junk or their spam, depending on how you filter it. And then all they have to do is set up their user profile and they will be linked to your business and they can see all the same opportunities. The concierge will help you set that up if you need. Now, this is a notifications-based system. So much like LinkedIn, anything that happens against your profile, you'll get a notification. If it is an action notification, so you've received a tender opportunity or you've received an answer to a question or something similar that is really sort of time sensitive, you will get an immediate email notification saying, here is what's happened, log in to view or take the action. If it is a for information notification, like a news article has just been launched, or something like this is closed, or something like that, you won't get an immediate email notification. It'll just come through in our 24-hour activity email, which will go, yep, there's been activity on your profile in the last day. Please log in to see what that is. We're trying to do that to minimize, obviously, the number of notification emails you get, because we don't want to just flood your inbox when there's things going on. So have a look at that. You can control your notifications through the system. But yeah, every notification, it's a really good way to navigate the portal. So from the bell in the top right-hand corner, there's a little bubble that'll tell you how many notifications you've got. And if you click on the notification, it'll take you directly to the page where you need to take the action. So that can be a really good way of using it quite quickly, but I also strongly recommend the top menu items are a really good way to navigate the system. And finally, look, we are here to help. as I said, this is not a set and forget tech system. We have an Australian support team that are here to help you at any time. There is tutorials and guides on the right-hand side of the page. They are in-app tutorials where it'll show you on the page where to go. If you don't find a tutorial or guide that you really needed, please let us know. We will build that in. As I said, we're always trying to improve the experience. So don't sit there grumbling. Jump on the chat, which is in the bottom right-hand corner, which goes directly to our operations team. Let them know what your problem is. Let them know, hey, a guide or a tutorial would help in that area, and they will jump straight on it. So that chat goes directly to our ops team who can help you. Or if you just want to speak to someone, you can call 1300-0-BENCH, which goes through to our operations team as well. Or you can call your concierge on their mobile number and talk to them direct. So I never ever want you to feel like, you know, you're struggling or you're worried or whatever. You can always talk to us and we'll help you out. Thanks very much. I'm always keen to answer your questions once we get to that part. But as I said, you can call Bench on any time on those numbers and we give you more advice. Thanks, Michael.
That's great. Thanks, Tim. Extremely informative. And it looks like the SupplyTMR platform is quite intuitive and easy to use as well. If you have any questions for Tim, please at this stage go through and just put in your question in on that chat function. And we will spend time just at the end of today just to go through and address any of those questions that have come through. We'll now move on to part number 2, which is to give each and every one of you an overview of some of the support that the Department of State Development, Infrastructure and Planning, or DSDIP for short, provides to you as a supplier. Now, with some of you listening in, you might already be engaged in dealing with some of our regional officers right across the state. For those of us that haven't heard of state development, we're really the Queensland government's lead agency in growing and driving economic development throughout the state. Now, DSDIP's purpose is to think ahead, act now, secure responsible economic development and livable communities for all of us Queenslanders. Now, we do this through a number of different mechanisms by supporting economic growth and innovation, job creation, investment, new infrastructure and planning, and trying to increase workforce participation. Now, our regional office network goes through to assist business and industry. So we do work one-on-one with growing businesses right across the state. And we are a network of 14 regional offices as well. So again, regardless of where you might be based, there is a local regional office there to be able to further support you. We also provide our services through our call center. So you can access that through 13QGov. Or you can access any of our online resources just via the State Development website that you see on screen, or the Business Queensland website that you also see on screen. Now, with state development, we continue to provide sector-wide industry development services, including project facilitation and supply chain development, to maintain a strong focus on some critical industries in our state as well. So on screen there, it just gives you a better understanding of some of the key critical industries that our teams operate and work closely in. So areas such as aerospace, beef processing, biofutures, biomedical defense, hydrogen, the MET sector, which is mining equipment, technology and services. We also operate in the resource recovery as well as the super yacht side of things, as well as space is some of our key industries. For further information, you could just follow through to that URL that's listed at the very, very bottom of some of the additional support within each of these critical industries. Now, you're probably asking yourself, well, that's all fine and good, but how does state development actually make a difference for myself and my business? So there's a graphical representation there in the middle. So on the left-hand side, you've got economic performance as one of the axes. And at the bottom, you have time. Now, that blue line that you see is basically your organization. So as a business is established, there is a level of organic growth that they might start to see. I guess really with engaging the regional office network, we help provide solutions to some of the challenges that you might have. We link you with various different opportunities. And the whole intent of that is that we then try to help assist your business in accelerating your growth. So really that difference there between business as usual scenario with your organic growth and obviously your accelerated growth is really how we make a difference to you and your business. And ultimately, it's trying to help you in saving time, money, and effort in trying to achieve, your key objectives as part of your organization. Now, by engaging our regional offices, we do work one-on-one with businesses within our region. And we do so with a range of various different support. So we might provide workshops, events, provide programs and services. And it's ultimately to help link you in with grants and referrals to other key stakeholders within the state agencies, local councils, and possibly the Australian government. Now, ultimately, we're here to help you in overcoming those challenges, improving your processes and capabilities, link to any opportunities, and ultimately help you to grow and succeed as a Queensland business. Now, regarding some of our other additional support services, our teams also assist in investment facilitation support. And that's for organizations that are already based here within Queensland, looking to expand and grow your operations, as well as those that may be looking at possibly relocating or maybe establishing operations here within the state. So our teams will provide one-on-one facilitation support to help your business to grow and invest within the state. And it's to connect you in with some of the key stakeholders in both government and private sectors, and with the intent to solve problems, help you guide through some of your investment decisions, and helping to accelerate that project delivery to hopefully provide project success. Our teams also provide via the Queensland Supply Matching Program an opportunity if you're an organization facing any supply shortages or interruptions within your supply chain. You could go through and just follow through that URL to complete the request form. That will then be provided to our regional teams, and our regional teams will then undertake the necessary research to connect you and provide you a list of other key suppliers that may be able to provide those goods and services to help assist your organization. So again, if you're interested in that, just follow that URL down the bottom and you'll be provided the request form to then complete. Now, in terms of the Local Economic Opportunities Network, or LEO for short, the LEO network really works with local communities to assist with economic transition. The network itself assists regional councils, industries, and communities with industry development and economic growth opportunities. And there's a range of programs and initiatives available through local governments, business and industry to help you improve areas of business performance, sustainability, and energy efficiency. So if you do follow that URL down the bottom, you will be provided with a link that has all the key programs from local, state, and the Australian government that may help you in the areas of business performance, sustainability, and also driving through those energy efficiency initiatives as well. Now, regarding industry support, our teams do have an individual page just via our website that does outline all the key industry support that is available for business and industry. So through that, just follow through that URL down the very bottom. It'll give you all the key aspects and the programs available through the State Development Network to help further assist you. Now, regarding some of the workshops and webinars, our teams on a regular basis do deliver either online webinars or face-to-face events. And it's really helping your organization in going through the entire tendering process. So we've got workshops and webinars on capability statements. So it's almost pre-tendering, starting to get all your documentation ready and to develop a very powerful capability statement to assist you in the process of tendering. We got Tendering for Business, as well as our Top 10 Tendering Tips webinar that are delivered on a regular basis to help enhance your processes when you're going through the tender process. We've got workshops on contract delivery. So once you've won the contract, what do you need to do to ensure an effective contract delivery and to deliver in full and on time of that contract? And we have additional workshops in the area of cybersecurity. We've got workshops that help those of you that are maybe preparing to get your business sorted to supply into major projects. And we also have workshops available to help your organization in really establishing and really driving through those ESG initiatives as part of your processes as well. So if you are interested, look, we would certainly love to have you on board. You can just follow through that link down the very bottom to find out what is available and to register on the local website for the programs that are being run within your region. Now, we have additional resources for you within tendering as well. The first one is really through the state development website. So on the left-hand side there, if you follow that URL there, we have pre-recorded webisodes really in helping your organization get established within the tendering process and all the key things you need to do to help you put your best foot forward. On the right-hand side there, through our Business Queensland web portal, we do have a dedicated page with a raft of tools, templates, and resources in supporting you on your tendering journey. So please follow through, go through to access that information. It will certainly help within your processes. Alternatively, if you do have capacity, we'd certainly love to see you at one of our next workshops or webinars. So folks, that really concludes, I guess, the formal presentation that we have for today. I'll now hand it over to my colleague Rachel there to help administer the Q&A for this afternoon. So if you've got questions, if you have, I guess, any areas in which you want additional information, please go through now, certainly to embed that within the chat function. And I'll now hand it over to Rachel.
Thank you, Michael. So thanks to those who already added some questions to the chat. So we'll start off with a question from Deepak. So you did mention that you supply products such as soil, compost, and mulch, and you also indicated that you couldn't see on the system for supply or demand of these products. You did, however, manually add this in the field, and I do also see that you added a screenshot just showing the matching categories which are not so related to your business, being an organic recycling facility, as well as some suggestions for sections to add to the system. So now onto the question. So it's twofold. So just to summarize, part one would be, how can AI identify what's added manually to effectively match opportunities? And two, can SupplyTMR have such capabilities for your specific product and or revise available options to choose from? So over to you, Tim.
Thanks for that. Yes, so I guess the first part of your question is the AI.
I'm an expert.
It'll match based on the capabilities that are in there, the location that you're at, where you can support to, and there is machine learning in the background that says if you are doing X, Y, Z, then you might actually be doing these things. So that is how we are getting smarter over time. What you need to be doing is you need to be putting in the closest capabilities that you have. And if there are capabilities that you're missing, send that to us. And we've done this a number of times with companies. They've gone, look, this very specific part here is not linked to any of the capabilities that are there. Excuse me. We get that approved through TMR and we add those capabilities in. We will then inform you once that's in, you can start using that capability. So in SupplyTMR, Transport Main Roads have taken the approach of building their capabilities out based on what the suppliers are looking for. So therefore, in the portal categories or capabilities, that is listing out what, Downer Rail, DTI, John Holland, Hyundai Rodham, and then their first level tier 2s, tier 3 suppliers have been requesting. We will build that over time. And as I said, we'll let you know when those things improve or when we get things approved, we can add them in. The generic capabilities, they're just pretty standard and high. If there is a section there that we've missed, then we're more than happy to add that in there, especially if it's something like, sorry, what was the thing that he said he did?
The mail out that we do with it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just couldn't find the right category that matched.
Yeah, so my suggestion too there is talk to your concierge or jump on the chat have a chat to someone and say, look, where do I fit in here? If there really is nothing to fit you in, we will add the category in there so that you're there for the future and you show up then in the reporting when they are looking at different things. So don't just go, oh, there's nothing there, I'm out. If we build it, then it's there as an option when companies are searching for things. And you never know what's a new supplier is going to come in. They're going to need something that hasn't been requested before, and it could very well be that capability. So work with us and we'll build the capabilities so that you get more opportunity.
Thanks, Tim. And we had another question from Simon. So he asked, is the portal just for the Queensland Train Manufacturing Program or the whole of TMR, including divisions such as Road Tech?
At this point in time, it is only QTMP. However, the portal is open for other TMR projects to use. So it is not limited in itself. It's just that QTMP is the only one on there at the moment. It is up to every, I'm not speaking on behalf of Transport Main Roads, but what I've been told is it's up to every project lead within TMR to choose how they'd like to engage industry with their projects. But SupplyTMR is there. It is open to other TMR projects, but at the moment it is just QTMP.
Beautiful. And we had a question from Crystal. So she's asked, under generic capabilities, what do you suggest labour hire firms to select?
Generic capabilities are set up for products and materials. What I suggest is if you've said you want to supply people, you enter in all the skill sets that your labour hire firm focuses on. There's I think at last check there was something like 26,000 skill sets in there in the database. So add in everything that your business specializes in. If there are people that you're really trying to get out there and get them on contract, make sure their skill sets are entered in. And there's machine learning that is built into that. So if you type in project management, for example, it'll recommend scheduling and cost analysis and other skill sets that are related to that so that you can fill that up quite quickly. And there's also an add skill sets function. So because we know skill sets are evolving constantly, there's no one list of skill sets out there that can cover everything. So if you have a new skill set that's not in the system, you can add it. It'll then get sent to our operations team. Once we validate it's a real thing, we'll then add it into the list. Consulting, use the skill sets on the talent side, and supply chain uses the generic capabilities and the community capabilities.
Great. And we've got another question from Harry. So is there a distinction made when registering between short-term contracting as opposed to plant hire or labour hire?
So there's definitely a difference between, so like if they're looking for a skill set, they're not saying, hey, I want a labour hire arrangement. They're saying, I need this skill set with, this person with these qualifications, these experience levels. Here's the rate band I'm willing to pay. This is the location. Here's any other criteria that I need. If your business matches those skill sets and experience levels, it'll give you the opportunity, and then you put your best person forward with a resume, a rate band, and then they assess. They can then interview that person or interview you, and then if they decide to go to contract, that happens off portal. When we're talking about plant hire, that would be under the supply chain side with the products and materials tendering. So that would be separate. If they're looking for plant hire with associated people to operate that equipment, then that would be done through the tendering side because it would all be linked to the equipment itself. So the talent side is purely, I need a specific person with a specific skill set versus I need a service, which is done on the supply chain side.
Right, and we do still have a few minutes for Q&A if anyone else had any other questions. But while we're waiting, I have a question. So what key steps would you recommend for a supplier registered on SupplyTMR to take to help them to increase their visibility and chances of getting matched and shortlisted by TMR by the major contractors?
Yeah. So first, there's no paid way to get your company put to the top of the list. If your profile matches the requests of what they're after, then you'll get matched through to it. We don't, prioritize any of those. If you've matched through, they will see it and they will look at it. So that's first and foremost. There's no way to pay your way to the top. When we're talking about increasing visibility, it is very, very heavily focused in on the skill sets that you add in if you're supplying people and the capabilities that you can support with on the other side. So I always recommend periodically going in and just checking that that's up to date. Checking that there's not someone new that you want to add a skill set for, or there's not a new capability that you want there, or you haven't bought a new machine which gives you a new advanced capability that you didn't put in there before. So keeping those two things up to date is really, really important. The second one is the location. People can be very specific on their location, and then they go, hey, I heard this opportunity's hit the streets. I haven't matched to it in SupplyTMR. What's going on? And when we look in there, it's because they said, oh, we can only supply to Brisbane, whereas this might have been a Rockhampton opportunity. And then once you tell them that, they go, oh, well, we could have gone Rockhampton if we wanted. So your profile should match what you are capable of achieving. So if you can support nationwide, put nationwide, and that means the location really is removed from the algorithm assessment because they know that you can support anywhere. So just those two things. Talk to your concierge, get them. They can give you little tips and tricks based on what opportunities have hit the streets right now and how you can optimize yourself and get into those. What I will say is, if you've heard of something that you're not matched to or you can't see it, talk to your concierge. They'll either tell you why you've been excluded. The major contractors can exclude certain companies. They can release it to certain sectors only because they're looking for very specialized local companies in a certain area. So there are some different abilities for them to guide where it gets matched. But we are not here to block that from you. We're very transparent. If there is a reason that you've been blocked or the system didn't pick you up, we'll let you know. And if that is incorrect, like if you just missed out that capability, and we can then add that and then link you into that opportunity. So again, we're always here. It's not you've missed out. So sad. Talk to us. We'll add it in and we'll get you matched through.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. So I might hand it over to Michael just to wrap up the webinar today. Thanks, everyone.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. So folks, this formally concludes today's webinar. Firstly, a big thank you to Tim and also from Benchon in joining us, and for also you as a participant in joining us for today. Now, just as a reminder that following today's webinar, you will be getting a link to the feedback survey. However, for those of you that might have your mobile devices ready, you could actually click on that QR code that will directly link you in with today's feedback survey. For completing the feedback survey, we will provide you a copy of the PDF of today's presentation. Rachel, could I just get you to mute your microphone, please? Now, folks, if you need further assistance, we have provided for you my contact details as well as Tim's contact details there. Certainly, as Tim mentioned, they do have the 1300 bench, as well as the concierge service there to help provide you individual support. If you want to take a screenshot, our details are certainly there. So folks, thank you once again for your participation in today. If you're interested in attending any of our future workshops or webinars, or if you want to learn more about the industry support that's available, or wish to contact any of our state development regional offices, please just go through to just follow the links on page now, or you can always go through to call the government call center on 13QGov. Now, a reminder, state development, we also have the industry support as well as the LEO network web links that will provide you an overview of programs and initiatives available to help your business within the areas of business performance, sustainability, and energy efficiency. Also, please go through and visit the State Development Growing Queensland business website as well. And please do like and follow. There's quite a lot of information. There's also details of some of our upcoming events for you regionally throughout Queensland. So folks, we hope you enjoyed today's session and found the information valuable. Thank you all once again for your participation for today. Thank you and goodbye for now.